Hey Scrubs, this is Retro, and today we're going to be looking at 5 animation mods and 2 bonus mods that I use for immersion and combat in my 400 plus series, although I think it could go up to 6 by the end of the video. This one's going to be slightly different to the other mod focus videos that I've done, in that this one's not going to be script based, so I haven't sat down and wrote a script out for this video. I'm going to do it off the cuff sort of thing. Hopefully it's a bit more natural, but we'll see how that pans out. It might be shocking. Anyway, I just want to give a shout out to Emmanuel Letvinov on my backpack mod video, because he gave me the idea to do a video on the animations I use. So thank you, Emmanuel. I love having the interaction with you guys in my comments. That's brilliant. I get lots of people suggesting mods that I should try out, and I usually try them. Somebody actually commented on my combat mods video, basically a really lovely list of some combat mods I hadn't really seen before somehow, even though they're amazing. And then I checked them out and they were brilliant, so they're all now incorporated into my current mod list. And when I do a second combat mod video, I'll probably give them a shout out there as well. That was amazing. So this video is going to be focusing on animation replaces that I've got for things like combat, also other things like sprinting, jumping, first person magic, and just some general immersion stuff. Let's get on with it. Dynamic Animation Replacer by Sky. This mod functions as a sort of framework for other mods to assign animations to characters in the game or actors based on what they're currently doing. You won't notice anything really in your game when you install this mod, but as long as you recognize that it's a framework and it'll allow the other mods to introduce these new animations to you, it's basically essential for a lot of those new animation mods. Dynamic Animation Replacer will run checks throughout the game when you're playing, such as, are you currently sprinting, are you currently sneaking, are you running, attacking, are you jumping? And then if you've got a mod that introduces a new animation for that, it will apply that animation instead. The second mod on this list is actually a behavior engine. NEMISIS Unlimited Behavior Engine, which is created by Shikio Kira, and it basically functions the same way as 4's new idols in Skyrim, FNIS. But it's more updated and more recent, and it has the ability to integrate mods that don't usually play well with new animations and new idols, such as combat gameplay overhaul and 360-degree movement. So what this mod does is, when you click on it, it'll bring up all these different animation mods, and if you have them installed, you put a tick next to them. So here I've got 360 movement, I've got combat gameplay overhaul, jump behavior, and you click. You update the engine first, and then you click Launch Nemesis Behavior Engine. And what that'll do is it'll integrate all your animation mods together so that they all work and they're not stepping on each other's toes. Even if they're not here and you check them off, if you have new animation sets, it will recognize them and make them compatible with one another. So for example, I've got animated potion drinking, I've got the flinch effect for people that are hit, and all of this will work with combat gameplay overhaul and 360-degree movement now. Sexy move detector. Oh, I don't know what that is. Close. The Nemesis tool is over on GitHub. You can get it, and there you will see the most current or the most recent fixes to the engine. So here you can see that they fixed lots of T-pose bugs, high CPU utilization that causes lag within the game, playing the wrong animations for the wrong animation sets, errors, and other things, and improving general compatibility. So it's nice to see that the mod author, or the engine author, is very active. You don't have to worry about your load order going down the toilet in about 3 weeks. Animated Potions by Midge and End. This mod is awesome. It basically means that when you drink a potion in combat, there's an animation that plays out kind of like Dark Souls, where your character actually stops, whips out a potion, and chugs it down. This stops the potion spam, where you chug down, I don't know, 10 plus potions in combat and you can still run around. Whereas now, you have to actually stop, chug the potion before you can chug the next one. What that does is it breaks combat up and it leaves you vulnerable while you're trying to heal. Whereas before, you just sit in the corner and scoff down those cheese rolls or potions. The mod required FNIS, but now it's compatible with Nemesis. It also requires Sky UI to activate the mod in the MCM, the mod configuration menu. Overall, this is a great mod, and it highly improves the immersion when you're fighting and you've got combat mods on, and the gameplay feels a lot harder, and it makes you think a bit more tactically about when you can heal. So things like burst damage from another combat mod might be a major factor on when you decide to heal. You might preemptively heal. It just adds another layer of depth to the combat, and the animation looks pretty sweet too. EVG Conditional Idles, created by Everglade and uploaded by Liam Butt. I love this mod. If you've seen my videos with Lydia holding a shield above her head, that's why. This mod adds in idles depending on what's currently going on in the game. So for example, if you've just used lots of magicka and you've got low magicka, your character will lean over and hold their head like they've got a really bad headache. If you burn up all your stamina, they'll bend over, put their hands on their knees and get some deep breaths in. Further to that, if they're naked or in their skivvies, they'll try and cover up their modesty. Hehe. If it's raining outside and they've got a shield equipped, they'll walk around with a shield raised above their head to try and keep the rain off. I absolutely love this mod. I think that it's just absolutely incredible. This requires the dynamic animation replacer that we previously talked about, and it's a hard requirement. You can also get some really nice alternative animations for things like when it's cold, they'll freeze and shiver. If they are injured, they'll hold themselves, they'll hold their side. These idles make the game a lot more lively and feel a lot less rigid and static. I don't think this one will ever be leaving my load order now that I've got it. I love sprinting somewhere, getting out of breath, and then my guy just keels over and starts taking in some deep lungs of air. Definitely check this one out. Just like the conditional idles and some of the combat mod animations we've got in this list. Finally, first person magic animation for SSE by Spoiler will add idles and new animation sets for your casting when in first person. So what this mod does is it replaces the animations for things like having an idle spell in your hands, not charging it. When you charge it up, there'll be a different animation. When you release it, there'll be a different animation. It's new sets of animations for healing, casting oak flesh, flame sparks, telekinesis, the wards, new animations for dual casting. And if you're playing a mage character, even if you're playing a character who's a bit of a Nightblade with a couple of spells up their sleeve, I say definitely get this mod. The new animations are so nice after you've played Skyrim for about 700 hours vanilla. The animations are of a really high quality, and the casting feels a lot more powerful, like he's actually throwing the spells or conjuring up the healing, rather than having the same animation set for basically everything. I love it. Covered before on the channel, I've looked at combat gameplay overhaul. Today we're looking at the animations specifically. So things like, for example, if you've got a big two-handed weapon, your character will lean that on their shoulder to mitigate the fact that it's supposed to be a heavy weapon. Also, there are now animations for casting, shooting, and attacking whilst jumping, which are excellent, and it's sort of like when you play with it and you experience these new gameplay elements, it's really difficult to go back to not using them. They've also changed it so that the upper body uses an attack animation whilst the lower body uses movement animations, and they've mixed them together so that you can move while attacking in any direction, and it looks a lot more fluid than it did in normal Skyrim. On top of this, there's an awesome dodge roll, so you don't have to have a separate mod just for a dodge roll. I love the fact that the dodge is in first person and it simulates the roll itself. Other mods don't tend to do this. I personally like it. I know some people don't. I think it looks amazing, and gameplay wise it's very functional. It's great for getting out of a tight spot. Combat Gameplay Overhaul adds in procedural leaning, which basically means that when you move, your character leans slightly in that direction to make it look more weighted and natural. Now there's a great mod configuration menu that you can use to customize how far the leaning is, and it goes from anime leaning all the way to a healthy person leaning. I like to go for halfway, I think's realistically viable, and it suits me quite well. Overall, some great animation sets. Previously covered on the channel, Archery Gameplay Overhaul. Now, won't talk about the combat aspects, just here for the animations. What does this change? Well, when you knock an arrow, you get a beautiful new animation. You can also, the first person idle is just beautiful. I love being able to see the arrow knocked, and it looks a lot better than vanilla, where he just holds the bow if he's not shooting, or drawing I should say. Also, when the bow is drawn, the archer holds the bow much more straight and rigid and vertical, whereas in vanilla it's sort of diagonal look, which I don't really like. I'm not a big fan of that. Also, they've removed the bash from the bow, and instead there's a customizable toggleable bash that you do where you stab in front of you with an arrow instead, which I much prefer to the bashing with a bow. The new idles for the archers look absolutely awesome, and I frequently find myself stopping during gameplay just to admire my character holding the bow in that way, because I think it looks so thematic and cinematic. Definitely recommend this one. Next up is Animated Armory DAR version with new weapons and new animations by Knick-Knack. This mod was recommended to me on my combat mod list video by Mark Marino. He gave me a very generous combat list, and I very, very much appreciate it. When I do a 2.0 combat mod list video, I'll probably be using quite a few from his mod list. Thank you very much, Mark Marino. We'll look at the weapons added, such as the rapier and the spear and the halberd, in the Combat 2.0 mod list, but for now we're just going to focus on the animation sets included. Animated Armory with the DAR allows you to have new weapon animations for things like claws, spears, custom dagger animations, new mace animations, quarterstaffs. Have I said daggers? Yes, I have. And rapiers. These animations look really, really high quality, and it just adds some variety to Skyrim, whereas the mace would usually use the same animations as a sword. Daggers use basically the same animation also as a sword. This adds a lot of variation in, and things like the rapier and the halberd attack forward in a jabbing motion, which we haven't had in Skyrim yet, which is a really nice addition. The claws, you can literally be Fantasy Wolverine. If you've seen my combat mod video or my armor video, you'll have seen me using these claws in one way or another. The new animation sets are really, really nice, and honestly, I just can't give enough praise to Nick Knack for these high quality animations. Next on my list is a short one. It's Olivier Sprint by Mofu. I find it difficult to find a decent sprint replacer. This one looks really good. The elbows are tucked in. I get a real sense of momentum compared to vanilla, which I feel feels kind of clunky, like your character's a fridge with legs. So this is a bit more enjoyable for me. It's a personal preference, but I prefer this sprinting animation. I think it looks fabulous. Next on the list is Jump Behaviour Overhaul by RetroSpect. Shout out to a fellow retro, wink wink nudge nudge, howdy diddly. This mod has an amazing FO mod installer that lets you customize how your jumps are going to look in game, which jump sets you want and which ones you don't want. You can have a look here at how my jump sets have been set up. I like to have a jump where my guy chucks his leg forward. It looks like he's got a lot of weight behind it, whereas the vanilla jump, it's just ghastly. I love this jump set. It changes things, so if you fall from a certain height, you'll do a superhero landing if you've got the right perks, the right strength. If you're a mage and you fall from a really high point and you've got the perk for it, you'll be able to stop yourself with a magical ward just before you hit the floor and mitigate the damage. The author made these jump animations based on real life jumps that they've observed. There are different animations for back jumps and forward jumps. There's more of a forward momentum when you jump when you're sprinting. It's beautiful. There are also options in the installer to change how you interact when you land. So if you have other mods such as 360 movement behavior or combat gameplay overhaul, you'll have a bit more of a stagger when you land, so you can't slide around for a bit, and it makes the animation look a lot tighter. It's really good. You can also set it up so that you fall faster than in vanilla, and depending on your perks and how far you've fallen, there'll be a different set of animations that play out for that as well. Good job, Retro. Okay, so finally, it's Relaxed Sneak Animations by Everglade. This sneak set is a much more subdued sneak than the vanilla one, where the guy is basically like a doubled over Nord trying to be quiet. This sneak set is a lot more. It gives the impression that your character's agile. It's a personal preference thing, just like the Olivier Sprint, but I really enjoy this. Well, that's it, guys. If you like the look of the archery gameplay overhaul and combat gameplay overhaul, maybe check out my combat mod list. I hope these animations help add immersion to your games. I certainly love them. I think that they add so many little features that build up to create such an immersive experience. These mods probably won't leave my load order for a very long time, if ever. If you enjoyed the video and you've listened this far to my ramblings, please subscribe, leave me a like, comment in the comments, let me know what you want to see next. Hopefully this video wasn't too painful, as it's my first video without a script and I've sort of been freestyling a bit and I'm sort of like, you know, mom spaghetti, palm sweaty, nervous about that. Hopefully it was okay. Thank you very much. Peace.